Hi guys, welcome to another video. I've done 2 pro shows since the last video, so we've got a lot of catching up to do. So the first show that was at London XL, it was the True Athlete show. Few days leading up to that, I felt, how you'd expect, really nervous, but really excited because it was my pro debut. Arriving at the show the day before, I registered. I remember looking around at the pro meet and greet and seeing all of these men and women from all across the world, you know, from just everywhere, Brazil, Italy, France, you name it. And they looked so good. It really is a massive jump up from the amateur to pro league, but the experience was amazing. So I registered, got my number, got everything ready, meals, etc. And then I got my first coat of tan the day before the show. That's always a lovely experience, and anyone who's done that knows that it's absolutely freezing and you're just standing there naked. Again, really positive experience. I just met everyone backstage, the athletes as well as the crew. That was really good. As far as how I was feeling the night before show, as expected, I was super hungry and I was quite tired, but with a mixture of nerves as well. Coach was happy. It was quite a smooth, although it was a long prep, it was a smooth prep. So he was happy with how I looked. It was definitely my best to date. I looked nice and full. Came in a really good condition. I did struggle with sleep that night. I was just going through my routine in my head, nervous that I was going to fall over. It was my first time wearing strapless shoes, so I was thinking about that. But actually it was fine. I managed to get some sleep, but it wasn't as good as I could have done. So the day of the show, the first experience I've ever had of getting the underground tube train to a venue, which was hilarious because I was wearing like you wear like a loose sort of dress over your tan, and I had my hair all pinned up looking, you know, like an old lady with her curlers in. So we went to the venue, found the makeup lady, got my makeup done, got my hair done. Again, I felt quite chill at this time because everything was out of my control at that point. I could eat the food that my coach gave me. I've done the prep, I've done the work. So at the point of getting my hair and makeup done, I felt okay. So before I knew it, I was going on stage. I was doing my pro debut eye walk, and as always, I get super nervous. My legs go wobbly, but I just had to bring my everything. So I went on and I smiled, and the music was going, the lights were on, but when you're on stage, you don't sort of hear any of that. You don't hear I couldn't tell you what song was playing. So I did my eye walk. I was a bit wobbly from nerves, but I felt that I brought my best and I was just so excited to be up there. And then I did my eye walk, went to the side, and then it was sweaty up there. They made us really work, and they compared us all. They did lots of comparison rounds. And I remember feeling, well, at the diagonal, I remember looking out to the audience, and it was my pro debut. And I remember just standing there posing, thinking, you need to take this in. So I looked around. I was obviously not being judged at that point. I was, well, still posing, but I was on the diagonal, looking out to the audience, looking at who had come to support me, made sure I gave them an individual smile each. And I just felt so grateful. And I made sure I took a moment when I was up there just to take like a memory shot so that I could remember that feeling. Because I never planned to do a pro debut or think I'd ever turn pro. So that was such a good feeling to be up there. I felt so proud of myself. And as soon as I came off stage, I was just inundated with support, and I just was so elated. I could not have been happier. I brought my best. I definitely brought improvements. Yes, I didn't place top 5, but that did not faze me at all. I knew I wasn't going to come, you know, top 5, top 3. Those girls were absolutely phenomenal, and you know, they were trying to get to the Olympia, and they totally deserved it. And it was just the best experience, and everyone was so supportive of each other. And that is what I really like about the sport, is that you are all in it together, and when it comes down to it, it's all about just enjoying the moment. You've all put the hard work in. So yeah, that was London. That was the pro debut. That was amazing. So Vegas was 2 weeks later. So straight after the London show, went out for a nice meal, enjoyed that. The next day, back on plan, no problem, knowing that I've got 2 weeks to improve. So I arrived in Vegas. I had 3 days to be on prep before my show, giving us a good amount of time just to make sure that, again, no issues with flying. Because I only ate chicken and veg, there was absolutely no issues at all. And I came in leaner and leaner, trained as usual, did cardio as usual. By sort of the day or two before it was started, I needed to carb up anyway, so I was getting a little bit more food, but of course at that time I was so hungry. It doesn't feel like a lot of food. So Vegas, it's surpassed my expectations. The pro check-in was amazing. I met some incredible pro athletes from Brazil, from Venezuela, from Spain, from just absolutely everywhere. Previous Olympians as well. I was in awe, and I remember sitting there on these red chairs just for the pros, feeling like a complete imposter, completely like I should not have been there. But they didn't treat me any differently. In fact, they loved my accent, being from the UK. So I walked out of registration just absolutely flying after meeting amazing athletes and just feeling so welcomed amongst the sport and the people. It was just amazing. I woke up on show day the lightest I've ever been. We definitely brought my leanest condition to date, for sure. I was really pleased with the look I brought, considering my goal was to come in a little bit sharper. I think I was about £5 difference between those two shows, so that's a massive amount actually. And also obviously the water that came off me as well. Show day, it was just the best experience. Now I know why people from the UK like to go abroad, and especially America. It was so good. Everyone was so friendly, and it's definitely an American thing. Everyone was so supportive, so friendly. I remember going to get my tan, and it's very open. You'll just stand there completely naked in front of everyone else with your shower cap on. It's unlike anything you've ever experienced. Feeling quite calm actually. I wasn't nervous yet, so I got my tan done, and everything just went really smoothly. Got my hair done, got my makeup done, etc. Yeah, really smooth. And then it was time to chill before show. So we have, unlike the London show where we went on show once and we did our eye walk and comparison round, Vegas and most international pro shows, you do a pre-judging in the morning where about 80%, 90% of you're marked by the judge then, really. And then you have finals later that evening where it just consolidates your placing basically, and it's a bit more showy. So before I knew it, it was time to go on. My first ever time competing in the USA, my rookie debut or my pro rookie season, and they made us absolutely work. So we went on and did our individual routines. I remember being super wobbly because the stage was a bit of a temporary sort of a temporary stage where you put platforms together. So if you actually look, all of the athletes walk not dead center, just to one side, because it was a little bit wonky. So I went on there, and for me as a perfectionist, I felt like it wasn't my best posing. I think nerves got the better of me, and like I said, I felt a bit wobbly on the stage. Not that anybody else would probably notice, but I remember walking, smiling, and almost getting frustrated because it felt like I wasn't in control of my legs. But I did my eye walk, then we went to our comparison round, and they worked us up there so hard. We were on stage working, and by working I mean posing constantly for 40 minutes, and I was sweating. So we were lined up on the diagonal, and I think there was about 13 of us, I think, and I fully expected to get last call outs, and I would have been happy with that. Being amongst the top pros, I would have been more than happy. But I remember, so I was lined up on the diagonal and they called out, I think it was, they did first call outs first, where the top 5 or 6 girls came out. They looked absolutely incredible. I could have called it from backstage. They had the mass, they had the condition, the tissue, they just had the presentation, they just had everything. They looked amazing. So first call outs, and then I was remember just posing and just thinking, oh, I'll just, you know, I'll be in like last call outs and just sort of posing. And then before I knew it, they called me out with the second call outs. And I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but because there was 3 lots of call outs and I was in call out number 2. And so I nearly didn't move. When they called my number 8, I nearly froze because it was me. So I remember walking to the centre stage and just enjoying it. I felt a little bit more pressure at that point because I thought, oh my goodness, I've not come last. So anyway, I posed my heart out, you know, back breaking, sweating, midsection in, calves were cramping, all of that. And then you go and line up, got compared again. So we come on again. They were really, really making us work, like I said. And then it came to the results later on. So we went off, all said, you know, lovely things to each other. You know, pros are just something else out there. They're really supportive. I went and chilled for a few hours. Actually went back to the hotel because there was sort of nowhere to chill at the venue really. So unless you come top 5, you don't know there and then where you placed. But you can sort of tell from your lineup. So anyway, the top 3 got their awards. The number 1 who got to the Olympia, huge congratulations. They all looked amazing. Then we all went off stage and I was on such a high, and we tried to figure out where I placed, and we figured out that I placed 8th, and then looked at the IFBB Pro League announcements the next day, and I did come 8th, which is crazy because my number was 8 as well. So for my first ever America Pro debut rookie season, I came top 10, and I came 8th place, which I'm just over the moon. I never in a million years thought I would do that well. If this is true, this is awesome. My coach said that I'm the highest placing UK wellness athlete in America so far, which is pretty awesome. And the feedback I got was more tissue, which we absolutely knew I would need. So I came off stage, and then that evening I went out for a lovely, lovely meal, went to a really nice steak place overlooking, it's called the Lake of Dreams at the Wynn. And I remember just having the best time, the best quality time. I was on such a high. I just could not believe where I started. You know, I used to be someone who didn't particularly like training, didn't have a healthy relationship with food, didn't like, you know, I definitely was carrying fat when I was younger. And then fast forward to now being on the Vegas stage at a professional league, like IFBB Pro League bodybuilding competition, is just absolutely surreal. So reflected on that and the rest of Vegas, as some of you would definitely have seen, I celebrated, fully indulged on my Instagram. I posted a lot, so apologies for the food spam, but there was definitely a lot of celebrating that went down, and it was just amazing. The reception I had from Vegas was amazing. So the question that everyone keeps asking me is, what is next? So the plan for now, personally, is to just keep improving. But because I have more time now that I'm not on, you know, zombie face, I'm not death by prep, I am going to put more energy into business, into coaching, into posing. So although there won't be any more Road to Pro debut episodes until next season, potentially, you're looking at some posing and some coaching content coming your way. But if you have watched so far and you've enjoyed it, thank you. And I'll see you next time.